We're large and we're in charge. We're here. We're ready. So we're outside of U.S. Bank. Now you're probably wondering, why the frick am I outside of U.S. Bank? Well, I am. You're probably wondering, where's this owner that you keep talking about on the title? Well, guess what? I am an owner. I am a shareholder, which means I'm a minority stakeholder, which in all actuality means that I'm an owner. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, this guy's full of it. What the hell's wrong with this dude? And yeah, I am a little full of it. But the beauty is, being a minority shareholder means that I can pretend to be a minority. I'm a huge fan of U.S. Bank, though. Like, legitimately, this really is one of the best banks, best branch location. I'm a huge fan. Man, I can't help it though. I've been in love with this bank for a long time. They've treated me very well. Just going here as a customer is great. I can't say anything. I really can't say anything bad about U.S. Bank. But yeah, I am technically an owner. A shareholder. People are like, well, you're just a share. You only how many shares do you got? Like, I only got one share of U.S. Bank. But I do have a lot of S&P 500 ETFs as well, so that kind of gives me a little bit of a leg up. But yeah, it's great. It's fantastic stuff. But yeah, this is the show for the day. Just kind of, I'm going out and about, kind of checking. I guess I'm causing a little bit of mischief, but not too much. Mainly, as you can tell, like I said, I am a shareholder of U.S. Bank, so this is actually one of the better financial institutions, though, all things considered. Their earnings are great. They do a good job loaning out responsibly, and I'm just a huge fan. So really it comes from just being a pure fanboy of the company. But yeah, I think, I love going to different locations and, filming outside the different various locations and just anywhere I can go, obviously. But yeah, overall, I mean, the company pays me a pretty fair dividend. There was one point where their dividend yield was really high, mainly because the stock had tanked a little bit. And that's kind of the best time for me to invest, is whenever a great company's stock tanks. I will rack up a few shares, that is for sure. But it's kind of how I ended up getting into U.S. Bank stocks, because, I mean, their stocks crashed really hard. And I got into the market in 2017, technically, but man, did I buy a lot of shares of different companies. I'll tell you what. There's just a lot of good ones out there. So you don't want to miss out on any of the opportunities that the market gives you, though. So if there's a bear market, man, you got to be bullish. I mean, you should be technically bullish in virtually any market, in my opinion. But yeah, it's really the way to go. But yeah, as somebody who's just a diehard fan of U.S. Bank, I'm just gonna stand right here real quick. As somebody who's a diehard fan of this company, this bank, I cannot be more happy than I am just chilling out here right now, talking about it. And overall, as an investor, I own all the major banks. I own at least one share of every single major bank out there. Now, could the banks crash? Absolutely. Is there irresponsibility with most banks right now? I believe so. I am going to switch something around quick. Here we go. Boop. Just going to make this a little bit easier for you guys to see me. Doing a little selfie stick trick. I think that'll hopefully keep it balanced, but we'll see. But yeah, outside, outdoors, taking the show as mobile as we can make it. Yeah, anytime I could bring the show out on the road is a good time. We got a few buildings around here. Just a lot of good locations in this town. It's good shit. But yeah, you're probably wondering what the hell's a freakish shorish like me doing outside the Coos Bay branch. And I just want to say, like I said, I'm a huge fan of this company. This company's been around, this bank, I should say, has been around for a very long time. Don't know the exact established date, but I remember it's old. But overall, I'm happy to be standing here and happy to be outside of this financial institution. Um, it's been fun. I mean, like, it's one of those things where I, just I can't even begin because they allowed me to open up a checking account and not have any monthly fee, which is really cool. Originally I said I was a student, and I was at the time, you know, student of life. And yeah, because I think my account is still labeled as technically student, so I get a waived fee every single month. So and it could also be because I have a minimum cash balance as well, so they don't charge any sort of fees if I have like a minimum balance. So I keep a good amount of money in my checking account at all times. It's just something I do, just because it's the smartest thing you can do in all actuality. Because here's the thing, man, you got to keep money in your checking account, dude. That's the smartest thing you can do. And yeah, I hate maintenance fees. I will admit, though, if US Bank did have to charge me a maintenance fee, I probably wouldn't even resist it because it would just be too much of a hassle. And the reason I say that is just simply because, like, why would I? Why should I resist that? You know what I mean? And if you think about it, it's probably smart of me not to resist it in more ways than one. Think about another factor here. My bank account, I tie my checking account in with everything, and including my direct deposit. It just makes it more of a hassle when you have to change your bank account with multiple institutions. You could do it, but it's a hassle, and you don't really, just easier to have the money go to one single account. Just be smart with your money. I think too many people are just too spend happy. I think that if you just lower down your consumer behavior, you could do what I do, and have a ton of money in your checking account and not give two craps about it. I do have a high yield savings account, but honestly, I put in $250 and I'm not going to stack anything else into it. My main focus right now is my investments, because I think that while I love a guaranteed yield, if a bear market happens, I need to have cash ready and raring. Here's the thing, I'm constantly investing, so any spare money that I have goes right into my brokerage accounts. And then what do I do from there? I just keep on investing, and then any money that's just sitting in there, by the way, just ends up being uninvested anyway. So one other factor I must admit is, was that the truck earlier that was pissing me off? Okay, maybe not. It was a truck earlier that was doing some shit pissing me off. But, I was gonna crack my neck a little bit. Yeah, overall though, solid choice, man. I think you're a fool if you bank anywhere else. I'm just kidding on that one. Honestly, most banks are pretty good. Wells Fargo's pretty decent. Even a local credit union for the most part's not bad. It's just the problem is credit unions are not that are profitable, but I think they lend out to they're a little riskier in the sense that even though they are FDIC insured, that I think they're more likely to go down in a market crash in a crazy time. I would rather own a U.S. bank or I would rather have a Bank of America checking account or a U.S. bank checking account, Wells Fargo. I would go with the bigger banks because bigger banks are just better, in my opinion. So this is why I'm a huge shill for a lot of these bigger institutions, just because this bank has been good. This bank has been incredible, and I just got to celebrate it. But yeah, walking around town though, doing a live show, it's incredible. It's just the best thing in the world. And am I dressed professionally? Fuck no. Do I want to be? Fuck no. But yeah, this is a good institution, and technically I'm an owner of the company. I own a few shares of U.S. Bank, so technically that makes me an owner. So I could pretend like I own the place, which I don't. But I'm a minority shareholder, which means that I'm more Mexican. But yeah, no, I'm a big, huge fan of this place, and it's just been a good bank to me over the years. And I guess this is kind of more of a kudos and a shout out to a bank that's been, quite frankly, the best bank in the world to me. So yeah, I don't want to choose any other bank at all. They don't even give me a maintenance fee, which is even more dope. So I love it. That's a pretty fancy car right there. But yeah, overall, and one thing I will say though is, the one thing I don't like about banks is this, in general, is is what they sell to the consumer is some form of safety, which is nice. Everybody needs a little bit of safety. That's just what human beings need, including myself. I don't, I think everything should, anything bank related, FDIC insured, all right, I'll take that. It does kind of give banks leeway, though, to be irresponsible, But overall, here's the thing. I'm not about the money, I'm about the assets. One of the things that I own tons of stocks, I own tons of exchange-traded funds. I'm just that kind of dude, and I'm happy about it. I will continue to own every single bank that I can, just, doing the works. And it's just one of the ways to do it, man. Just one of the ways to do it. But, yeah, I'm a huge fan. But I would give you a tour, but, they don't give keys to freaks like me. But no, this is great. I mean, I know I'm like glazing the hell out of U.S. Bank. Like, I'm licking U.S. Bank's butthole right now, admittedly. This is falling off the rails, you guys. But huge fan. I'm probably not going to make this stream very long. In fact, I do plan on finding a spot to plop down and take a rest. I might even just go to the park and take my show on the road, and might even do stand-up comedy at the park. I don't know. Surprise stand-up comedy show. Man, I wish I had so I had this old Adam Levine Maroon 5 guitar that I got from Ross back in the day. A fake Adam Levine signature, blah, 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 but that thing was so fucking cool. It's very portable, too. It's a very tiny guitar. It's basically a children's guitar, and I'm pretty sure it was geared towards young girls, but because all the girls love Adam Levine. Who doesn't? Men or women, I think it's really just it felt kind of a neutral guitar anyway, so I think it was trying to get the kids into rock and roll, but, But, yeah, they call Adam Levine and I pretty gay. Adam Levine's the man, though. I am pretty gay. No, but overall, this is the best bank in the world. I would go to the ATM side, but honestly, I don't know the legalities of that. I could just take it in there and be like, "Hey, here's my PIN number." But overall, it's good. It's a good place. It's a pretty good place, and yeah, I can't help it, man. I can't help it. But overall, I mean, if you guys want to know, what my card numbers are. No, I'm just kidding. There's a few factors that people need to keep in mind when it comes to banks. I mean, I think if you choose like a small credit union, I really do think you're taking a risk. However, one thing I do is if I'm going to get a loan, I will absolutely go through a small credit union because they do tend to offer lower interest rates. See, the thing is for me, when it comes to my money that I'm holding, I'm all about security. So I will choose U.S. Bank any day of the week. Now, for example, with my auto loan, it has a pretty low interest rate. And the reason I'm happy that I went with the institution that I went with for the auto loan was because they were the smartest choice overall, lower interest rate. It was a credit union. And I'm not saying credit unions are necessarily more trustworthy or more stable. I'm just saying if the bank went solvent, right, for whatever reason, I would still have to pay the auto loan, obviously, right? But it wouldn't be that bad because some other bank will buy the bank and it would take time. I would still have to pay my loan, obviously. I'm not stupid, but, I'd rather risk, because it's like I want to have access to my money when I need it. U.S. Bank has had incredible uptime. I'm able to access it whenever I want. We have 2 local branches here in Coos Bay. And so, I mean, this is huge. It's a huge conglomerate. I would show you, I don't know, can I get close to the inside? As you can tell, that's kind of what's going on there. This dark room. It is a Saturday, by the way, so the bank is obviously not open. But, yeah, happy Labor Day weekend, everybody. Technically, like I said, I'm the owner of U.S. Bank because I am a owner, because I am a shareholder. I own at least one share of my own of U.S. Bank, so I have to repeat that because you guys need to realize that. Overall, so like I said, I'd rather have, if I have to pay money to somebody, I want to pay to a credit union because they tend to have lower interest rates. If I want to keep my money safe, and not have to worry about insolvency of a bank, then have to wait for the incompetent FDIC to get back to me, I'm going to choose a bigger bank. Am I going to get the best interest rate from a U.S. bank or Bank of America if I put it in a savings account? Not really. Their savings accounts tend to suck ass. So, you have to go with other options for savings accounts and stuff like that. I don't really save my money. I just put it in brokerage accounts and just own whatever shares of whatever I can. And, ownership is the real key. So I just want to say that. I love dividend stocks. I get paid a higher dividend yield from really good investments than I would putting it into a savings account. So I figure, why even bother putting anything into a savings account? I just go into, I get into a lot of international-based exchange-traded funds that have a huge index of holdings. And, most international stocks actually pay pretty good dividends because they want the shareholders to stay. And some of them actually have pretty good cash flows, too, so it's not like they don't have cash flows. Is it a little more dangerous, and is there that much growth in a diversified portfolio of international companies? Not as much as you'd think, but hey, you never know. International companies, there's a lot of emerging markets, so you don't want to miss out on the potential of emerging markets. So that's one of the reasons I say, those MSCI ETFs that allow you to get the exposure to those growing international companies is a beautiful thing. Diversify where you can it's not financial advice. It's just my way of thinking about things, and it's one of my favorite ways to think about how to be in the market. And you know me, man. I'm Mr. Diversification, man. Diversify or die. And I love diversification, man. It's my way. It's my ninja way, So, but I'm having a good time, man. Just chilling out, hanging out here, and yeah. Woo. But I guess I could stand closer to the building. I don't know, but yeah, no, this is a good bank, and I could not promote it even more than I already do. Like I said, I'm a huge shill for this bank, and I always will be unless they screw me over. But overall, this bank has treated me very well over the years, and. If I was, and I'm a proud investor in the bank as well. It's one of the reasons why I invest in U.S. Bank, because of how comfortable I feel keeping my money in the bank itself. So if I feel comfortable putting my money in there, that's why I choose big conglomerates overall. They're my favorites. Just, I love big banks, man. As long as they're not the dumb big banks, like one place I would avoid like the plague is Morgan Stanley. Yeah, Morgan Stanley sucks ass, by the way. They're terrible. Morgan Stanley's bullshit. But overall, huge fan of this place. No, I own pretty much any bank that I can. I own Bank of America. I own U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, Citigroup. There's a couple other ones I own. I don't think I own Capital One directly, but I do have Capital One in a few different exchange-traded funds that I own. But yeah, I own pretty much every bank that I possibly can. And that's really. And by the way, like the video. The more likes we get, the better. So the more simps we get, the better. But yeah, overall, it's a good bank. I stick with it just because it's the right bank to stick with, and I'm happy to be a huge shill of this bank. I guess I could take you around the corner. This is my Cribs. This is like a Cribs video, kind of like in the MTV Cribs and shit. I'm going to show you guys just how cool this place is. Now, obviously, this is the drive-through. This is the place. So you can take out your money here. If I want, this is really cool. I'm pretending like you guys don't know how this works, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I think, is that a letter that got stuck in there? So you can sit, so this is cool. Obviously, I don't ever use this. I just go to the ATM, but I go inside. So I can't remember the last time I've used anything like this, but this is where you're going to that opens up. You call in, and then they give, what do they give? Hey, send carrier, blah, blah, blah. Oh, shit. But anyway, I hope it makes sense. I haven't used one of these in a while. I never go through the drive-through at the bank, so I can't even remember how this works. So typically, I'm either going right in the bank or going right into the ATM. And since I have direct deposit, I never have to put a check in. And normally, if I just have cash I want to throw in there in my account, I just go right in there. But yeah, I mean, this is cool though. It's like from the future. It just vacuums it up. It's fucking tight. Or I think is it just air? Or does it release the air? Maybe it releases enough air to push it. Yeah, that's probably how it works. I'm a little bit of a tard. So, and then other places, I think this is a drop box. So like, for example, you got like, so these are the lobby drive-through hours, closed Saturday, stuff like that. So this is the depository. So I don't know how that works. But yeah, and then this is the overall, and then I think you could go here. So if you're on this side, you can send it up. But then if you're over here, obviously, you can put your shit in there. So that's kind of dope. I mean, there's a lot of benefit to that. But yeah, this is pretty sexy. That's how this works. And then, well, I guess you know what? Fuck it. Let's just go around. Let's just keep going with this. We'll show you every part of this bank. We'll show you the works, and we'll even go to Banner Bank, which I think my buddy Nathan goes through Banner Bank, so. But yeah, no, this is U.S. Bank at its finest. Nobody's using the ATM right now. So, like, one could just walk in here and be like, hey, yo, check it out. It's party time in the house. Woo! So this is the ATM. It's the inside here. Boom. U.S. Bank. Boom. So, yeah, this is the... They've really vamped up their ATM over the years. Look at that. That's what we call a good ATM. I don't know if this will... I think you actually... Oh. And then there's a little tap card. So, yeah, you could do all sorts of shit in here. It's really cool. So, I prefer using the ATM. But honestly, most of the time, I just use my credit card for everything, man. Anytime I need to get cash, I am kind of a little sketched out because I'm afraid they might like put little card reader things in there. So that always kind of freaks me out just a tad. But yeah, that's the ATM. And, and then we're going to walk around, do a quick 360 around the entire building here. You guys are getting a real view of how this bank does. You guys have not learned anything, if I'm going to be quite honest, about this, because I have not taught you shit. But overall, good bank, great bank, the best bank in the world. We're only 23 minutes in, and everybody's falling asleep. But yeah, no viewers right now. Pretty cool. But yeah, overall, this bank kicks ass. It's been around. This branch has been here since I was a kid, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, that'll conclude it for this particular video. I just want to thank you guys. We'll get back to where we started here. But I do want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch this stream. We took a look at the ATM. We took a look at everything else. We talked about my philosophy on banks. Now, I will say this, one ending note. Banks will give you advice. Just remember, banks give shitty financial advice. If there's one thing I will tell you, and I don't give financial advice, just to let you know. I give you financial insight more than anything. Financial education, and it's all for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. I put disclaimers in all my videos about this. But overall, this is the place. This is the place to do business, man. But I will say, my motto is do what the bank does, not what the bank tells me to do. Now, what the bank tells me to do is often wrong, all right? I'm going to tell you that right now. What the bank, and repeat this to yourself, what the bank tells me to do is very likely incorrect, wrong, you name it, wrong. It's wrong. It's not right. It's not accurate in any way, shape, or form. The bank is wrong, right? So if the bank tells you to save money, what does the bank do with that money that you save? We gotta reverse engineer this. So when you put your money in a savings account, what is the bank doing with that money? The bank is actually making a lot of money off of your saved money, by the way. by giving you a very low yield interest rate. So if you want to be like a bank, or even be better than a bank, by the way, first off, I think you need to diversify your assets naturally and forget the savings account. But look, what the bank does to get, I wouldn't say rich, but to maintain profitability, is that they make money off of the interest, right? The interest of the loaned money that they put out. And they're very good at risk analysis too. Well, I hope they are. But overall, I do trust this bank. I do trust it will remain solvent. The earnings have always been pretty good. They've been a pretty steady company. Really a huge fan at the end of the day of US Bank, and I honestly wish nothing but success for this bank, just because they've been so good to me, and I'm pretty sure they've been good to a lot of customers too. They do a lot of risk analysis, and I think that's very smart. Banks should do risk analysis. If I have a bad track record with accepting money, and I shouldn't have a loan, don't give me a fucking loan. You know, it's as simple as that. I gotta stop dropping so many F-bombs. But the point I'm trying to make is this: US Bank is a great bank, and I hope most people can realize this. And yeah, that's cool. That's a gas bicycle, by the way, that just passed. Hell yeah. Yeah, overall, I think what it boils down to, let's see if anybody's even in the chat rooms. I'm going to show all the chats. No, nobody's chatted on there, but that's all right. But hopefully everybody enjoyed this video, just because I really do like talking about finance and investing and trying to get back to what makes this channel great. And I believe it is those topics that we talk about on the channel, where we talk about, like, you know, like I said, it's those phrases that we talk about, those quotes, those philosophies. You know, investing really at the end of the day is philosophy based, and I'm all about the philosophy behind how I invest, like the belief system. So my belief is that cash is valueless. It's not valuable in any way. It's not backed by anything. So how can I personally ever even think about saving cash? How can I believe in saving cash when I believe it's valueless, because there is nothing backing it? Now, back in the day when you could trade your dollar in for maybe some gold, that's a different story. That meant the dollar was valuable. It was a way to keep gold portable and to keep the monetary system right. The moment that Tricky Dick Nixon, who is one of my least favorite presidents of all time, along with Jimmy Carter. So there's Jimmy Carter, Tricky Dick Nixon. I don't like him. I'm not a big fan of George W. There's Bill Clinton's kind of a cuck, or he's cucked a lot of people. I don't really know. Just not a fan of Bill Clinton either. But definitely not a fan of Jimmy Carter, Tricky Dick. I could go off on a tangent about the presidents that I think have made America worse. Joe Biden. And for what it's worth, I think people are a little too hard on Trump, but whatever. I think he's doing fine. And I'm glad Tariff City, baby. And also keep MS-13 out of the U.S. I'm down for it, man. MS-13 blows. We need to make MS-13 shit again, because it was always shit. But anyway, overall, I'm having so much fun. I love doing these live videos, you guys. I want to thank you for all your support. US Bank, baby. Woo! Just doing a quick little 360. Oh shit. That just made me dizzy. But, yeah, I think, probably go home here in a little bit. Now, I might even do a live video at the park. I'm thinking about it. It just feels good to be outside. I did not want to be home. Being home, that just sounds kind of boring to me. And I like doing live streams out here. I get to think a little bit and actually get to talk to the world. And it feels good, man. It feels good to be out here and the fresh air. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to add, but I can't really think of anything at the moment. But I'll tell you guys this, though. Thank you, and thank you for listening to this. Depending on how far you listen, but that's okay. Even if you listened a little bit, I appreciate it big time. Look, I'll choose U.S. Bank for sure. U.S. Bank is my favorite bank because, like I said, I feel like they've been a very safe establishment to hold my money. I never have to worry that they're going to go insolvent, during a financial crisis. Credit unions, that's why I don't have a checking account at a credit union. I fear that they would go insolvent faster because I think they give out too many bad loans to people because people can't really pay most of their loans anyway. So I think that credit unions are actually worse to put your money in. So I never, ever, ever put my money in a credit union. Now I will put my money in a standard checking account from like a U.S. Bank or a Bank of America, without a doubt, any day of the week, 24/7. But I will get a loan. See, if I have to pay money to a financial institution, I want it to be a credit union because they give out really low interest rates. And then U.S. Bank, I keep my money in U.S. Bank. I do have their credit card as well. I don't believe in what do you call it? Loans, loans, something. I'm thinking real quick. Give me a second. But yeah, I will never put my money in a checking or savings account at a bank that I feel doesn't have the financials to back itself up over time. And I feel like credit unions are pretty bad with money. I really do believe that. I believe that a credit union is more likely to go insolvent than an actual bank like this, because this bank is huge. It does have the earnings. It has the advantage. So that's the way I look at it, man. But I do want to thank you guys for taking the time to view this particular video. I will catch you all later. I'm probably going to go down to the park and just chill and do maybe a few more videos, maybe do a few short videos or something on the tripod. And we'll see how it all rolls out. But I want to thank you all again. I'm out. See you soon, guys.